Good morning, everybody. So I am 20 minutes late and a few days late with even creating the Weekly Wild Show event in my church on my Church of Wild page. So because last week and because this is what I want, I talked about how hard it is for me to do things like on the daily or I don't know, kind of machine-like. I think maybe it feels machine-like. Having a personal epiphany. Good morning. Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas yesterday. Happy Kwanzaa today. And Happy Hanukkah a few days ago. Gosh, how we celebrate seasons and life and each other and love. It needs to just be how it is, and it's all lovely, isn't it? So happy. I am wearing one of my Christmas presents because I couldn't resist. My daughter got this for me. It's purple. Anyway, I'm sitting in front of my fireplace, which is the Christmassiest thing I have in the house. Because this year with COVID and all the stuff that's been happening, I just let my ex take care of the decoration this year over at his house. We're good friends, as I've said before, and I've really enjoyed hanging out with my children and just being there for them in like a real kind of mama bear, mama way. And so it's been very simple this year. So yeah, thanks for the grace for allowing me to show up here instead of on the Church of Wild site. And just, I really appreciate you across the board over the years. As I said in an earlier show, when I first heard about Facebook, I laughed, and I'm transitioning to going to YouTube eventually. You'll hear about that. But I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your place in my life and how we can be in each other's lives. My arm is going to get tired because I can't find my little stand. But, so if I sink, you'll know why. But I just want to really thank you for being a part of my life and here and present and real. I want to start off today with, I was crying because I cry all the time. Anyway, I want to start off today with a bit of an apology. I know. So I was in my therapy appointment this last week, and my dear therapist, she said something. Hi, everybody. Hi, Deb. She said something to me, and the way she put it was, what I'm about to say to you. Hi, Dawn. Merry Christmas. Oh, I can see everybody this week. I might do it on my phone every week, you guys, because I love seeing that you're here. So she said something, and the way she prefaced it was, I'm not talking as your therapist. I'm talking as your friend. Which I love. I'm like, give it to me. Tell me the hard stuff. You know. And I even kind of see that as a flaw because it's like, I like to be right. And so I want to know when I'm wrong so that I can be right. It's embarrassing, right? But she said something that, and I'm getting right into this before we do an invocation because I feel like it's really important. She said, I appreciate what you have to say that, about like how Jesus would have been and how different it is from a lot of other interpretations and how the Christian church has changed things and mistranslated and all of those things. However, when you're talking, Jene, I listened to one of them, you sound like you know him as much as they say they know him. And what hubris. And I, of course, like, oh, that hurt, right? But she was right. I mean, I knew it right away. I mean, it didn't take any convincing for me to say, oh, crap. I've been using the same language as the people I was kind of going off on last week. As if I could know who Jesus was, how he was. I mean, we have clues, right? We have clues in the accounts of other people who wrote the Gospels and all of those things, and who said he said things. A lot of which, even from those guys, is ignored by the church. And that's just history. And fact, they ignore parts of the Bible. I'm gesturing. But, and what she said, there's a mystery there, that having that kind of hubris, that you know what he would have said and how he would have said it. I mean, it was kind of funny, Jene, you know, how you're saying he would say, what the fuck are you doing? But the mystery is so beautiful. Like, that's a lot of the beauty of his personhood. And it just really hit me that not only is that true for Jesus, but it's also true for, like, people we've lost, you know, people who aren't here anymore. And someday I will get one of our sessions, one of our meetups will be about how I see, like, quantum physics and time and reality, and how when you look deep enough, they're not really gone in ways. Like, photons never end. They're bouncing around. The light that bounced off my mom is still bouncing around, you know? And because she's in my heart, she's still here. Like, this is a really hard time. She died on December 4th, and everything went sideways afterwards. And, you know, but there's a mystery there that is so profound. Like, it's a daily thing for me. It's, what would she say to how I'm talking to my daughter? I assume some things about how she would talk, or how she might respond to where we are in our, you know, in this world right now. But I don't know. She's a mystery right now in a lot of ways. You know, how would my ancestors have responded to now? How would the person across the pond that I interact with on Facebook and love and had a connection back when, there's a mystery there that is so beautiful. And I don't want to do anything to diminish that mystery. And so when I rant and when I rail about how the church has mistranslated the parable of the talents, or how I think Jesus would be, please know, and I will do my best to stay conscious of the hubris and not to fall into that myself, of knowing what he would have said and how he was. If he was a person, there's a mystery there, because he's not here, but his words kind of might be and are. We won't get into the history of the Christian evangelical version of the Bible. That's for another day. Yeah, I just want to honor the mystery and the love that's at the center of it. Do we ever know each other? Do we even know ourselves? And I'm going to get into that too today a little bit in just a second, about knowing ourselves, because I have a surprise. It's crazy. I didn't do our invocation, but I'm going to combine it with, I'm all crying already. This is just me crying. Hi, Deb, Bob, and Don. You all have 3-letter names if you shorten yours, Donald. And there are 3 of you. 3 letters, 3s. So you can see how worn this book is. This is one of my favorite books. It's this old book of Tennyson poetry that I found in a bookstore probably 2 decades ago. 2 or 3 decades ago. And I love his poetry. And I'm just going to read one today for you, okay? It's called The Splendor Falls. Now there's a little story about synchronicity with this poem. My friend Lorelei Beckstrom, she's an artist, and I went to one of her shows a few years ago, and there was this beautiful painting that I was just really having trouble walking away from. Like, it was just that gorgeous and really resonating with me somehow. And I looked at the title, and it was called, I think, The Splendor Falls. And I said, that's funny because that's one of my favorite poems. And she was like, what? Nobody knows that poem. Like, who on earth of all the people you would know it? But it really is one of my favorite poems. I've loved it forever. And it just has this lovely cadence and sound and feel. Okay, I'm gonna read to you. All right. The Splendor Falls. The splendor falls on castle walls and snowy summits, old in story. The long light shakes across the lakes, and the wild cataract leaps in glory. Blow, bugle, blow, set the wild echoes flying. Blow, bugle, answer echoes, dying, dying, dying. Oh, hark, oh, hear, how thin and clear, and thinner, clearer, farther going. Oh, sweet and far, from cliff and scar, the horns of Elfland faintly blowing. Blow, let us hear the purple glens replying. Blow, bugle, answer echoes, dying, dying, dying. Oh, love, they die in yon rich sky. They faint on hill or field or river. Our echoes roll from soul to soul and grow forever and forever. Blow, bugle, blow, set the wild echoes flying, and answer echoes, answer, dying, dying, dying. I didn't realize how congruent that is with what I said about life never ending and the light that bounced off the ones we love. It's still echoing. It might be bouncing off of us right now, right? Lovely. So the mystery. I do want to offer a little bit of an apology about last week. I didn't even mention Christmas or the holidays. Happy holidays again. So the last thing I want to say today is a bit of an observation from today. I was kind of running around this morning. That's why I'm late. And I've been running around all week, like, you know, so often Christmas kind of devolves into, but two thoughts about that. I tend to not be like a conspicuous consumer. I've never had enough money to be a conspicuous consumer and just buy things all the time. But at Christmas, I've kind of, over the years, I've kind of just let go of some of the guilt around the fact that Christmas is commercialized now. I don't mean that I'm all for it. I just mean that I really appreciate the opportunity to lavish love in kind of a material way. I love, you know, if you want to look at love languages, I love receiving gifts and giving gifts, but what I really love is the surprise element. And I would love to have the means to do it all year. I guess I kind of do. I like solving problems and then surprising them with that need and giving them something that they're going to use all the time. However, there's just a joy. And this year with my kids, it wasn't like completely overboard, although maybe according to my poor upbringing, but I'm okay with it. Like, within my means, I like to give gifts, and it was a joy. And that knowing of yourself and understanding that place is a good way to get into what I want to say in particular this week. Sorry, I just found a place to rest my elbow, so I won't crap out on you. Hello, Hugh. Okay. For those who are joining a little bit later, this is my weekly Wild show on the fly, on my own page instead of the Church of Wild page, and I'm wearing the Christmas present my daughter gave me, and I'm not cold. Probably gonna sweat here, sweat and cry. That's just how it rolls. This is my fireplace. Anyway, hello. So this morning, I was really going back and forth about doing this week because I was late. I'm on my own page. And I thought, no, I'm just going to do it. And I realized that I was walking around in a little bit of not a fog, but really feeling kind of a pinch of guilt. And if there is one thing therapy has done for me, it is learning to recognize guilt. Because so much of my life was just soaked in it, and I was trained to be and feel guilty all the time. And it's taken so much hard work and so much rewriting and like so much awareness to shed those old habits and the behaviors of guilt that have been built into my everyday life and how I judge and experience life. And as I was going around this morning, I realized that I've kind of exchanged the guilt that came from church I've exchanged it for like self-actualization, because I actually believe that that's closer to, if I were still in church and doing church things, I actually believe that self-actualization is closer to what God kind of means by being a created thing. And by the way, I'm not coming from a place of really knowing and being able to pin down what my faith is. Still, I don't go to church. I don't really believe in the organization and structure these days. But there's a mystery there still, even inside of me, right? Sometimes I'm not quite sure how to define it. I know that it has to do with kindness and love for myself as well as others. But over the years, it's almost like if we think that God created people, okay, that's an intentional choice and act, then why not trust that he did it the way he wanted? And that we don't really need to change a whole lot when they come out. We just need to notice and experience and guide somewhat. Sure, you have to guide a child not to hit another child. But why do we always think? I don't agree with the carnal heart thing anymore. Sorry. I just don't. Because it doesn't ring true to me. I see evidence that it's not there in so many people and in so many situations. And the guilt for me has needed to go with that. I don't walk around with the guilt of having a carnal heart and needing to pull out my whip and improve myself for God or in God or meet my potential or produce or all of those things. I can't. I couldn't handle it anymore. And it's gone. But this morning, as I was getting ready for you, I realized that in my kind of habitual mindsets and behaviors, I am still experiencing that thrum, that beat, that little niggling, annoying poking of Now you've got to become who you really want to be. You've got to, like, it's not conscious thought. It's more embedded into my behaviors. You've got to get up and go. You should have made time, even though it's Boxing Day, even though it's the day after Christmas and everybody did everything and we're all tired. You should have gotten up and walked the 2 miles that you said you were going to do every morning and go to Dutch Brothers instead of making coffee at home. And you didn't need to, like these little self-judgments, but they're kind of embedded in my behavior. And so I get to where like I'm pushing internally instead of just living and breathing and enjoying the sunshine coming through my front window and the feel of my cat as she wants petting and even sparkly lights on candles, a little bit of a tangent. You will come to know me as the Queen of Tangents. Almost 2 years ago, in February of 2020, I had been working at Nourish Organic Juice, so a juice bar, and we regularly had people come in who were sick as anything. I mean, like spewing and sneezing, and it wouldn't happen today, but they would come in and want immunity shots and juice to help them heal. And so I saw sick people all the time, and I'm almost certain that I got COVID back then. It attacked my chest. I couldn't kick it for like 2 months. I had the fatigue was absolutely profound and real. And I spent a lot of time just unable to really do anything. And in that time, I grounded down into myself, and I discovered a place inside myself that was, well, what do I want to do? I have 15 seconds that I have energy to do something. What do I really want to do? And I tried my best, and I kind of almost trained myself to not think about it and to just listen to my gut and to not judge or plan, but just to go literally in this flow of being. And I want to stay there. I want to be back in that. I want that to be deeper and more profound every day. And when I talk about the church and faith and Christ and God, and if we're created, then I wish that we could train our children and train ourselves to be in that state of trusting who we are enough to move in that and make mistakes and go, that's not one, and adjust or change our minds or understand that we're hurting someone and shift and learn. It's such a subtle change in ways, but it's also massively profound and changes for me how I interact with people all day long. I let things come out of my mouth that I really wouldn't have before. And this is part of that. If you want to know more, I tell the story a little bit longer in the very first episode, which I'll post in the comments, of how just my inner selves were like, you need to just open your mouth and flow and let it be. So I was going around, and I'm really trying to, I recognized that I was allowing self-actualization and who I know myself to be, but want to be better, to really add a thrum of guilt to my everyday things. I'm showing you kind of the prettiest part of my house right now, because with last minute wrapping and organizing and cooking, because I made a cake and I made a bunch of other stuff for Christmas Eve, my house is a wreck, man. And so I tend to guilt myself about that a lot. And I was allowing it to really influence how I went about this morning, even like putting on lipstick or trying to be together. I ain't together, man. High five if you have any kind of mess in your life. But I just don't want that to be anymore. And for me, sometimes pushing past those assumptions and habits of behavior, I have to make a huge leap and a promise and a challenge to get past that and change, make a break in how I order my life. And so this is, well, I'm having thoughts, excuse me. And hi, Becky. Merry Christmas. Please give my love to everybody there. So I'm really debating whether taking this leap. It's really funny. I'm having a hard time doing it because I've failed so profoundly before. But I'm going to do it anyway. Okay? Okay. So that manifestation of self-actual, like of ourselves, right? I see that as almost holy. Sometimes we get a little bit lost, right? I feel like COVID has put a kink in things, even as it has, and the state of the world, even as it has almost incited or sparked things. You know, we've had to pause. We've had to ratchet back. I feel like I haven't seen I always called them my affectionate acquaintances. You know, I used to be kind of more social and go out, but I've been being really careful to not get COVID and bring it back to my family, some of whom have some conditions that it wouldn't be good if they got it. And I mean, I'm going to get boosted this week. You know, I'm doing all the things, but it still narrowed my world a little bit. And for the foreseeable future, it will a little bit more still. No traveling, no, you know, nothing like that. Before this all started, I was weeks from starting a travel retreat company. So that's on the back burner for now. Yeah. I hope that for all of you, that what I'm about to say inspires and challenges you to break through and break out and do something that is a huge risk, maybe. Managed risk, safe, but maybe a risk to your pride. It's a risk to my pride because I have failed in things like this before. So I've been working on this book. It's a nonfiction book. It's not the science fiction book that I've been talking about. That's going to take a while longer. But I've been working on a book about discipline and how it's kind of a cross between a memoir and a self-help book, which I feel I do not feel good enough at self-discipline to write a book about it. Okay. Let's just be real about that right now. Like I told you, if you looked at my house, yeah, I don't. However, the word discipline was ruined by my experience of it within the context of Christianity. You're not disciplined if you don't wake up 2 hours before your every day and go running and read your Bible for an hour. Like, I rebelled. Internally, mostly. I couldn't even muster the courage to rebel for real, like, you know, out to make my dad unhappy. And, you know, I didn't even do that. So I rebelled internally, but I kind of judge myself for that. Like, why didn't I just rebel? I just believed it too much, right? But, excuse me, now I shut out the word discipline. I said, I don't want to be judged by it. I don't want to judge myself by it. So I was just like, no, right? But over the years, I've gotten a more nuanced understanding of discipline and how I'm okay with it because I love myself, finally. I don't feel judged by it, and I view it as a tool. And so I've been writing a book about the ways that I reclaimed discipline, the word discipline and the concept. And I've been trying to do it just right. High five to fellow perfectionists. But here's my leap. I am going to finish that book by next week's Weekly Wild. By January 1st. This is not a New Year's Eve, a New Year's resolution. This is me wanting to get past it. And just do it. And give it to you. And you may hate it. Whatever. I mean, I love you, but you may hate it. You know, I'm only going to talk about what I know, and that's the internal processes that have happened inside of me. And so I'm going to do it in a week, and it's going to take balls to the walls, focus. I'm not going to be able to do all the things that I thought I needed to do in order to have a good stepping into the new year, and you know, setting myself up to be my real self. All of that language about self-actualization and manifesting who I am. I believe it. I see it. I experience it. But for me, it has added a sheer, like, a little coating of guilt that I've retained, and I want to let go of it. And so this is my little project on how to let go of it this week. I'm not even going to declare for the year. I just want to get this project done and over. So, hi, Andrea. So by next week's Weekly Wild, which I'll be making the event today, and I'll post it in the comments for this. And so you guys can find me next week, and you can all get, you know, oh, I'm not even going to say that. I was going to say, like, if I don't make it, you can get out your little whips. But no, it's okay. I'm going to challenge myself to finish this book by the end of the week. It's a little short book, but I've been trying to make it too perfect. And I've been hedging, right? So that you wouldn't criticize. But I'm just going to say the things and do it. Okay. The last thing I want to give you, hopefully, is a challenge. Another challenge. Yesterday, at Christmas, which was lovely with my family, I was given a wallet. I've had this really cool wallet for quite a few years, and it's gotten ratty and tatty, and my son's girlfriend noticed how it was, and so she gave me a new one. And after everything was happening and done, and we were all, like, you know, hanging out, I started going through my old wallet and transferring things. And what I found was something I've known. I mean, I see it every day, but I have this section where I had all of these gift cards, and like from years ago, okay? My kids they gave me a gift card 1 or 2 Christmases ago to go to Sunwater Spa, like an honest to God day at Sunwater Spa. And have I used it? I mean, COVID, that's, you know, that put a kink in it, but it sat in my wallet for at least 6 months before COVID happened. I mean, as I was going through all of these cards, I realized that growing up kind of poor and unresourced and kind of minimally taken care of, like, you know, I never went hungry really. Although, I mean, I ate beans and cornbread for most of my life, most meals, you know, forever. That and Hamburger Helper. But I was looking at them, and some of them, like a good maybe quarter of them, had expired. And I realized how I gather resources and I hold them. And it's a feeling of wealth to me, because if I get in a bind, I have this lift card, right? I have this lift card that I'm saving for if I get in a bind. There's no expiration date on it. I have no idea if it still works, but it makes me feel better because I have this little cache, this nest egg of resources. And the challenge that I want to bring to my own life, which is why I'm stepping out to challenge myself to just stop seeing this like ideas as resources. I want to see them as part of flow. So I'm gonna finish this book, man. But as I was transferring, I realized that there's no flow in holding them. It's not wealth. If there's no flow, if there's no out and giving or using, there's no faith. There's no faith that I'm going to continue to be resourced and cared for if I can't use what I already have, right? And so where is a part in your life? I would love to know, really, where you can maybe step out and use a resource that you haven't wanted to use because you're afraid it won't come back. Maybe that's what love is. Oh, God, I don't know why I'm crying all the time. Maybe I just need to have a good cry today. But this year, if I have a resolution, I want to use my resources. Whether it's talents or gift cards that I've had in my wallet for years. Maybe I'll go to Sunwater Spa this week and sit and soak. But we have to trust to the flow, right? Frugality. I mean, I believe in frugality and care and conscientiousness when it comes to money. But especially if something's a gift, I guess it ceases being a gift if you don't actually use it, right? So, if you want to leave a story about a gift that you haven't used but you're going to, or a gift that you look forward to using, I would love to hear that story. And I'm just kind of settling into these weekly talks and lives. And it's gonna look a little rocky and uneven as I understand how I really want to do it and figure out the tools of how to do that. So thank you for even being here this morning, all of you who are. I really appreciate you. And sorry I just I'm a blubber face today. But I hope you have a wonderful day after Christmas. And I hope that there are some surprises to this day, that there's some peace to this day. And definitely some self-love, if not outside love from family and friends. I've had some Christmases where I wasn't alone, but I felt alone. So I hope that if you're alone, I do believe in a universe where I can send my energy to you and my love. And so that's what I'm going to do. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. And I hope that you spend this week in pushing out a little bit with me. I'll see you next week. And it's 10 o'clock every morning. I was late this morning. I had to brush my hair. And I just hope you find love and peace this week.